Brother John Rick if he'd bring our afternoon prayer, and ask Mr. Fivish if he'd bring the American Legion while he's up.
Father God, we rejoice that this is a day that you have made, and we are glad in it. We ask that you continue to extend your hand of protection and provision for the city, and that the city council, as they meet, be good stewards of the assets that you have them considering today. Bless them and use them in a mighty way. We pray this in Jesus' name. Amen.
Join me in pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I call this meeting to order. I ask the...
Go ahead. I was going to say something before you come to order. Go ahead.
And I'll ask the clerk to call the roll.
Mayor Johnson.
Here.
City Attorney Stevenson.
Here.
City Treasurer Martin. Councilor Croom.
Here.
Councilor Hutchinson. Councilor Robinson.
Present.
Councilor Catt.
Here.
Councilor Pulliam.
Here.
Councilor Taylor. Here. Councilor Harris. Councilor McClendon.
Present.
Councilor Mundy. Councilor Holt.
Here.
6 present. No, 7.
7 present. We'll proceed with our meeting. Alderman Pulliam, I cut you off. I'm sorry about
I'm
that.
just going to just make a suggestion. Most, all the veterans that are here that have served in the military, I mean, you know, when you say in the pledge, I mean, they are, according to the rules, they are able to salute now. I just wanted to bring that up. That's all. You don't have to place your hand on your heart. You can salute.
Well, thank you.
Moving back to our agenda. There are no bid openings. And they have a copy of the minutes in your packet. Any additions or corrections?
Motion approved, submitted.
Second.
Motion and second to approve the minutes as submitted. All in favor by aye. Aye. Opposed? They are approved as submitted. Next item in the old business is the second reading of an ordinance regarding used cars. Mr. City Attorney, would you read the title to that ordinance?
Yes, sir. An ordinance granting a 12-month moratorium on the issuance of any new certificates of occupancy for used automobile-related businesses, including auto repair garages, automobile/truck sales, used, automobile wrecking, salvage, or junkyards, automobile painting or body rebuilding shop, auto wrecking services, boat/marine rental, repair, or sales, used, and motorcycle sales and service, used, and other like facilities in the city of West Memphis, making various findings and provisions relating to the subject and for other purposes.
That concludes the second reading of this ordinance. In pre-council, it was requested that we have the third and final reading and read it out. Could I have a motion and a second to suspend the rules?
Second.
A motion and a second to suspend the rules. All in favor by aye. Aye. Opposed? It had to be unanimous, which it was. Mr. City Attorney, would you read the ordinance for the third and the final time?
An ordinance granting a 12-month moratorium on the issuance of any new certificates of occupancy for used automobile-related businesses, including auto repair garages, automobile/truck sales, used, automobile wrecking, salvage, or junkyards, automobile painting or body rebuilding shop, auto wrecker services, boats/marine rental, repair, or sales, used, and motorcycle sales and service, used, and other like facilities in the city of West Memphis, making various findings and provisions related to the subject and for other purposes.
That concludes the third and the final reading. Could I have a motion and a second to approve the ordinance?
So moved.
Any discussion?
Yes. Go ahead.
I was just going to ask, can someone just kind of tell the public what's going on? Because a guy did contact me, but I just want you to explain it, City Attorney.
Well, the council expressed, I think, in a meeting maybe a month ago, a wish to possibly have a 12-month moratorium on everything that's defined within this ordinance. It went before the Planning Commission. The Planning Commission had a different recommendation. However, this is the ordinance that is on the floor and the one that's proposed.
Any other questions?
Yes. Could we talk a little bit about the Planning Commission recommendation and how they vary? And that's on me. I didn't know we were going to vote today. I thought I had 2 more weeks to do a little bit. I just want to be sure we've got the best information.
Just a few questions so that
What the Planning Commission's recommendation was and how it differs.
So there was an elaborate discussion at Planning Commission regarding this issue. And I will do my best to capture this sentiment. They wholeheartedly agree that this is an issue of concern. And it's not that selling used cars is a concern, it's the appearance of these sites, for the most part. That's not every used car dealership, does not look like the problems that we're having, but we are having a number of problems from used car dealerships that become unsightly, primarily due to wrecked cars, car parts, and more or less looking more like a salvage yard than a used car lot. While they took a couple of different votes before they finally settled on the final vote, they were not in favor of the moratorium, but they did have a recommendation of developing and strengthening some rules within our ordinances, and they alluded to strengthening of the special use permit process and requiring that. So that was their recommendation.
Okay, let me just say this. Of course, you know, we've been working on talking about looking at the different ordinances for a long time and haven't just started. Am I correct, Mr. K? Okay. So now, whatever the recommendation is that they made, I mean, it's nothing to put the moratorium on. It's not forever. But I mean, they still can come up with and do whatever they want to do. If you go down on the east end of town, we might as well just look at it for what it is. The majority of the car lots used down through that way have junk cars. They got what they're using for parts. I know that's what it's all about. But if you go down that's unsightly and it needs to be corrected. Now, I agree. We as a city need to do something about it. And this will give us enough time to start working on what we need to work on. We need something in place to keep them from coming. Because you got a lot of used cars, they just come here every year during tax time. They'll open up, some of them acquire buildings, they'll keep that building, you know as well as I do, and then once the car's gone, if they're all gone, fine, if they're not. The worst cars are still left there, and grass started growing up everywhere. I mean, it's just unsightly, and it needs to be corrected.
Also, even on Broadway, correct me on the zone, it's not zoned for salvage yards and junk yards anywhere, right?
No, sir.
Okay, so really what they're doing, the ones that are doing it are violating the ordinance anyway.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so with that being said, should we have a moratorium on salvage yards and different things like that? Things that don't supposed to be there, just don't supposed to be there, correct?
Well, and this is not just a moratorium for Broadway, it's citywide.
Oh.
Yeah, it would be, and the logic, I think, Mr. Pruitt, correct me if I'm wrong here, Mr. Pruitt, but what the opinion is that we need to develop some stronger rules and standards for these types of businesses. But in the meantime, we'd like to hit the pause button so that it doesn't continue to get worse.
Well, I agree. I'm not disagreeing.
When I said we, I didn't mean me specifically, but the collective we of the community.
I agree 100%. I'm not disagreeing. I mean, because if Ford was opening up a new dealership, I would like that. But to seeing the things that we see coming down Broadway, especially, I don't want to point out one building, but I see the cars. We see the cars coming down that way and the grass growing up behind them. Like, what is that supposed to be? I don't even think that's zoned for Broadway.
What I'm thinking is this. I think we're sending a very strong message to let people know that West Memphis will not tolerate. For so long, we have been so lenient, but now we've got to send forth that very, very strong message, not to hurt anybody or offend anybody, but in keeping West Memphis beautiful and West Memphis moving forward. We have so many wonderful things that are going on in our city, and we don't want all of these unattractive things to come in and make it look bad. For example, again, East Broadway, we have all those beautiful banners hanging up and down Broadway, and they're beautiful. But then if your eye don't go up towards those banners, then all you're going to see is all of what you're talking about today. And I guess I'm saying Broadway because East Broadway, because this is basically where we travel most of the time. So I really do appreciate the moratorium and everything that's going on.
I'll agree with Councilor Pulliam and Councilor Robertson, but what got us into this position anyhow? I mean, we didn't take care of it. We didn't enforce anything. She's talking about being lenient, you know, maybe we were too lenient. But there's 18 car lots down there, and all 18 of them look comfortable. Yeah. And putting a moratorium on it, coming up with new rules, that's fine, but who's going to enforce the rules?
We have to enforce them.
Well, I understand that, but we didn't enforce it prior to this.
But that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to get out of that. We didn't, and we're going to.
Okay.
So, Mayor, Mr. City Attorney and Mr. Hooper, y'all are going to work together during this 12-month period on how we strengthen that special use permit and other.
It's my personal intention to turn attention to this right away.
Okay.
That yes, that we hope to have something before you as quick as possible. I hate to pin us in on the timeline, but
I just want to make sure that we did have a plan to make that happen. Thank you.
And on the floor, Ms. Clerk, is that correct?
Yes, sir, it is.
Any additional discussion? All in favor by aye?
Aye.
Opposed? It is carried. Would you give that ordinance a number?
Ordinance number 2483.
Moving on to new business now, that concludes the old business. We have two resolutions, Mr. Pulliam.
May I make a motion to read R1 and 2 by title only?
Second.
Motion and second to read title only. All in favor by aye? Aye. Opposed? Would you read the title to R1?
A resolution to acknowledge the second Saturday of September of each year as Feed the Homeless Day.
We have, concludes the reading. Could I have a motion and a second to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion?
Just might recognize that last Saturday was the second Saturday, and Dorothy Enterprises took leadership in doing a Feed the Homeless Day program in Hightower Park. I'd like to recognize her and thank her for that, and we're doing this at her request so that we're on the record before the 2019 second Saturday in September.
Were there a lot of participants?
I do not know the answer to that.
Oh,
I saw a picture,
you were
but
there.
I don't know how many total participants she had.
I didn't make him.
Council Robinson, before you came in to pre-council, we had talked about the city's possible involvement in this next year.
That would be great.
Any additional questions or comments? All in favor by aye?
Aye.
Opposed? It's carried. Would you give that resolution a number?
Resolution number 2176.
Mr. City Attorney, would you read the title to R2A?
A resolution adopting the information security policy for the city of West Memphis, Arkansas.
That concludes the reading of this resolution's title. Could I have a motion and a second to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor by aye?
Aye.
Opposed?
Mayor, if I may just add that this is the initial step to bring the city in compliance with the legislative audit concerns. There will be many amendments to this probably over the next 6 months in order to bring this to fruition. The initial policy that you just approved has already been signed off and approved by the Legislative Audit Committee as a great first step, but it will be evolving, and we'll probably be back before you within 90 days to address a few concerns that need to be handled.
Okay, we voted on that one. Would you give it a number?
Yes, sir. It's resolution number 2177.
Oh, moving back to our agenda, I have no appointments. Any announcements from the council?
I would like to announce that we set Saturday, October 27th as our fall cleanup day for Keep West Memphis Beautiful. If nothing happens, a lot of people there was an outcry to clean this fall, and I think that's really wonderful with the new sanitation system and all that we have gotten going on. All I can see is a beautiful and bright future for West Memphis. Beautiful, bright, clean future.
Any additional announcements? Had one gentleman sign up for a citizen request, Mr. Lashley, is he in the audience? You signed up, would you come to the microphone, give your name and address, and we traditionally try to hold it to 5 minutes.
Actually, I live at 1026 Snow Drive here in West Memphis, and I've lived there for 30-odd years and been a resident for 66, 67 years. So I've seen a lot of changes in West Memphis. And I'm coming today to just express my concern about the issue that's been the subject of this earlier presentation, and that's the trash pickup. The Congress lady has expressed her excitement over the signage, the banners that are hanging, and the fact that people are trying to clean up West Memphis. In fact, that these junk cars, and I want to thank you for that. The junk cars are disappearing from West Memphis. Even in the neighborhood that I live in, there have been 2 junk cars moved out of the yard, so I appreciate that. But with all that said, if you drive down the road and it's littered with garbage and yard trash and debris, it takes all that away. All that just kind of disappears once you get off Broadway. I don't know what happened at the beginning of this year. For years, my yard trash got picked up every Monday. I set it out on Sunday evening, they'd pick it up on Monday. I'd leave it in my backyard the rest of the time. The grass grew great, it wasn't an eyesore. And then all of a sudden, in the spring of this year, all that changed. I put my trash out on Monday, it didn't get picked up that Monday, or the next Monday, or the next Monday, and it just continued. It got to a point where I didn't know when to put my trash out. So a lot of times it's sat in my backyard and get picked up for a long period of time. I understand from the newspaper that there's been a lot of reasons for that. I've read about the overtime issues, I've read about the truck issues, I've read about the employee issues, those sorts of things. And I think I and most of the citizens of West Memphis have been pretty patient. It's now 6 or 7 months since all this started, and yet I have not seen, until very recently, much of an improvement. I'm glad to see what I saw today. My concern is we're not Atlanta. We don't have to have that kind of system to travel over our streets and pick up our garbage. I'm concerned that all that money will be spent and it'll just be information that we have sitting here in a computer file somewhere and it doesn't do anything because we don't have equipment, we don't have employees, we've got breakdowns, whatever it is. My daddy always said the answers are easy, the questions are easy, the answers are hard, and I know you guys are in charge with the answers. And so I'm just hoping that someone can give me and the citizens of West Memphis some assurance that within a short period of time, I'll be able to put my garbage on the street, my yard trash on the street on Monday, expecting it to be picked up on Monday. I've talked to Ms. Hicks, and she's been very forwarding. And I said to her that the cynic in me would say that this is just a step in the process of getting the citizens of West Memphis used to a 2-week pickup on their yard trash or a 3-week pickup on the yard trash. And that's not going to work. I mean, I drive down my street, there's litter everywhere. Not in my street, not in my house, because I don't really have any, at this time I don't, I've had it in the past. But, I'm hoping that from my question, someone will be able to give me assurances and the rest of the citizens of West Memphis, that this is a problem that's going to be taken care of. You guys, I ask the questions, you guys do hard work. So I thank you.
Thank you. I believe we need to have our committee reports now, and I'll start with the insurance committee.
The insurance did meet this past week to review the submittal from Aetna for a renewal. We decided to reject that because of the cost. And so we will put the health insurance and vision insurance out for bid. That's currently in the process. So that ends my report.
Question, is that for our city health insurance? And Aetna is still the cheapest but higher?
No, we rejected their renewal bid.
Okay.
So we will bid it out.
Okay.
Okay, anything else on the insurance? Utility? We will not have a report on utility, I believe.
We did not, we had a meeting, but I did not pick up the follow-up report yesterday or today, so.
Okay. Airport?
Yes, sir. We met this morning. I was not able to be in attendance, but I understand you have some good information that you may be able to share with us, and I'll have a better report on the next meeting about the grant.
I don't know the details of it, but I know the Aeronautics Board awarded us a $250,000 grant for the airport to do some apron work and some lighting work, which is fantastic.
Right,
and
we've been
the need was
discussing
there.
it for a while. Mhm.
But it was just, I received it in the mail yesterday.
All right, we'll get better information. Mr. Pastor Rack, did you get any information on that?
I was absent.
All right, thank you. We'll get more information. If I have a report in my email, I'll send it to you, okay, when I get back to work.
Okay. Mr. Pulliam, you had
Yes.
something to present?
Oh, yes. Could we ask
Recognized.
Jim, Nick, and Amanda to come up? On last Friday in Little Rock, at the Regional Government Transformation Award reception, the city, we were the finalists in two categories. The first one was we were digital pioneer for the city efficiency finalists as Rubicon GPS tracking system. And the advertising promotion was recognized for the community transformation finalists as the Explore Bike Share Program and the solar power welcome sign that we now have as you come into our city. And with the hard work of all the people that stand before us, I mean, that's how this was accomplished. So this gives West Memphis another opportunity to be in the limelight on something positive. And we just want to thank them all.
And there is a culture that I want to say thank you.
Thanks to all of you. I believe that concludes the reports that I had on my agenda. The citizen request, anything else to come
Make a
forward?
motion. Adjourn.
Second.
Motion and second to adjourn. All in favor by aye?
Aye.
Opposed, we are adjourned.